WTF Metro.
I know what you're thinking, how on earth can 2015 be retro? WTF? Well, let me tell you why. First of all, I wasn't born until February 2016, and second of all, I've picked this Rumble because Sunday's Rumble is in Philadelphia, where this one was back in 2015, on a night where every WWE fan left the arena completely satisfied and not #cancel WWE Network. I'm Ross from Cultaholic.com, you're my sexual wank pheasants, and welcome to Cultaholic. It's never I'll get there eventually. Let's crack on with the WTF moments from the Royal Rumble of 2015. Now, people might be going radio rental for certain TNA fellas doing really well in WWE today, but back at the Royal Rumble in 2015 during the opening package, it sounded like the original voiceover guy from TNA was doing that package. You know the fella.
Cross the line, we are wrestling.
Yes, that voiceover fella was tearing up trees in WWE before the trees that the likes of AJ Styles and Bobby Roode are tearing up were even planted. And while we're talking about that opening promo, they're all talking about wanting to be the one, even though the actual one is opening the show. Haven't you got to feel sorry for Billy Gunn? That sad ass man didn't recover from The Rock literally chopping off his ass. And then we have the wrestling fan still using the word dweeb even though he's well on the way in adulthood when he called Mayor-to-be and future President of the United States Kane a dweeb. Never has there been a finer example of takes one to know one, you numpty. Earlier this week on Raw 25, the sound of the Road Dogg proved to be so much for Jerry Lawler that he had some sort of goosebump infection growth on his heart. That moment proved that Jerry Lawler is indeed in love with the Road Dogg, whereas that kid there certainly is not in love with D-Man from the Alamo with the crappy head tattoo while he was saying his shtick at the start of the show. Vince was right, damn millennials. If he's got some sort of allergic reaction or something, that looks more like stung after he's been stung by bees and his face is puffed up like a cheesy poof. And then we have the moment where Road Dogg called the not one Billy Gunn Slick Willie. Now, I have been on the internet to find out what that means, and here is what I've found. A Slick Willie is a sexual act which takes place in an office setting. The female inserts a cigar tube into her vagina while the male masturbates, giving new meaning to doggy style. And then we have Road Doggy Dog saying, "Holla if you hear me," in the biggest case of gimmick infringement since Jey Uso thought he was Kurt freaking Angle. Kurt, of course, was arrested in August of 2013 for DWI, his fourth alcohol-related arrest since 2007, but he's tickety-boo now, so we can all laugh at it. But Road Dogg stealing Scott Steiner's shtick, which is a very easy thing to say, is essentially the same as DWI. It's a massive risk to take and could leave you in hospital with a battered face. One's a crash, the other's Steiner's fist. And next up we have the sign that reads, "I'm Sean, you're Marty," with the bastard apostrophe in the wrong bastard place. I tell you what, though, with grammar like that, I think I'd rather be Marty Jannetty, a man who of course thinks it's okay to swim in fountains, and asks Facebook whether it's alright to sleep with a woman who he thinks might be his daughter. And next up we have Michael Cole, who believes that the Ascension versus the New Age Outlaws is a great way to start the Royal Rumble match, even though the Royal Rumble match is bare time away. To me, that would be like starting the miraculous process of childbirth with the water breaking rather than the penis taking a lovely holiday, as Scott Hall would say, down there. It's 10 o'clock, everybody! Here's a direct quote from John himself, who was talking about the Ascension, who have been giving shade to the people who came before them in the business of professional wrestling. "I don't agree with the lack of respect the Ascension has shown for all of these old legends. You called them old, you numpty, the exact thing you are lambasting the Ascension for doing." He's at the double, it's 10 o'clock, everybody! That prick back at it again, this time claiming that the Ascension's victory over the New Age Outlaws is the only victory of their career to date back in January 2015 that mattered. That is, of course, the Ascension, who to this very day now in 2018 are still the longest reigning NXT Tag Team Champions. John Makers, of course, beating two middle-aged men in the curtain jerker of a WWE pay-per-view means more than being the longest reigning NXT Champions in history, you knob. Back on the internet I went to try and find out what fluffhead meant, and here is what I found. A fluffhead is one who consumes LSD or hallucinogens on a regular basis, based from the white fluff variation of LSD and referenced by fish in their song Fluffhead. The question on my lips though is, who is the Fluffhead here? Surely it's got to be the fans in attendance who think they are seeing two Mizes in the ring at the same time. It's metal to think though how over Damien Mizdow was here. Now you look for him today and nobody knows where he is. Hello. It's pandemonium. You've got a roster brimmed with superstars, but to sell your brand new little mobile game, you pick the Singh Brothers American Fathers, the worst half of Eminem, and Jamie Noble, who pretend to be a Japanese man back in WCW. Before becoming trailer park trash, he used to neck on like a bloody goose. No wonder that game only has a, hang on a second, a 4.3 rating out of 5 on some kind of website. Why on J&J Security being used to sell every WWE product? Because it's clear they can sell anything, even pictures of fat clothed men, to JBL, who of course likes nudes of muscular... Never forget. Ball in! It's John O'Clock, everybody! So Jerry Lawler asked the most pointless question since "Do you like the cake?" when he asked... So Jerry Lawler asked the most pointless question since "Do you like the cake?" when he asked which one of the Bella twins is the older twin. JBL, trying to distract everybody from the fact he's lived the life of an arsehole, says to Jerry Lawler, you cannot ask a woman her age. He didn't. He just asked who was older. No number has to be given. You dirty bastard, I have never seen anybody look at a couple of bodies so intently since the last time I watched Taggart when there was a murder. So Paige and Natalia make a big old tag. It was clear as day, yet they both forget, and I have no idea what to say here because it was very weird. It was as blatant as the boot polish that Jerry Lawler still uses in his hair to this day, yet they both forgot. It was very weird indeed, but there's absolutely no question about it. Paige would have been all like, Natty, what are you doing? And next up, Jerry Lawler claims that it's Nikki waiting for a tag there, even though it clearly isn't. Anybody with a working pair of eyes can see that it's Brie because they wear different attires. But it's okay because puppies and more inappropriate things that an old man like that should not be saying on television, you dirty old bastard. Remember when they made Roman Reigns change his eye colour? Now I know that firsthand that having blue eyes gets you absolutely no further in life. So what on earth were WWE thinking here? Unless, of course, Vince McMahon likes deep blue eyes. Vince McMahon gets lost in the deep blue ocean of Roman Reigns' eyes. Vince McMahon is weird. I tell you what, this new Bullet Club pay-per-view isn't the first time that Cody Rhodes went all in, then all out there with Stardust, then all in again, and all out there, and in, out, he shook it all about. He went all hokey, and he requested his release, and that's what it's all about, because, Stardust was rubbish. I tell you what, I was sat there watching the promo package for the World Championship match at the 2015 Royal Rumble, a triple threat for the big belt in a match where Brock Lesnar does not have to be pinned to lose. And I was thinking, and just in case you didn't get what I'm saying here, what match is happening on Sunday? The top belt, Brock Lesnar, in a triple threat match where he doesn't have to be pinned. Although the 2015 version was very good, I hope the 2018 version is just as good. And next up, we're back with Jerry Lawler once again. In the moment he claimed that Seth Rollins can cash in his Money in the Bank contract anytime up until Money in the Bank the next year. This Royal Rumble took place in 2015. The next year is 2016. The previous year, when Rollins won the Money in the Bank, is 2014. 2014 to 16 is 2 years. Well, you can only have one. It's John O'Clock, everybody! And this time we have John quite literally falling in love with Barocca Lesnar. Barocca. When he said that Barocca is the closest thing we're ever going to get to a gladiator. That must be apart from the actual gladiators that existed in history, John. Or what about Russell Crowe in the film Gladiator? Or what about, like, Wolf and Magnus from TNA and the Spandex Gladiators? Oh, I love them. Brock Lesnar is to tattoos what Brock Lesnar is to haircuts. His look absolutely terrible, but you can't say anything or you will eat your family. Brock has a sword on his chest, a portrait of his mother on his back, and the worst tramp stamp, yes, I've been on Urban Dictionary again, in the history of mankind. Just above the top of his arse crack it reads, "Kill 'em all," and I'm wondering, why is that tattoo placed where it is. It's a motto. Kill 'em all is like Ganraj and neck cowies to me. Yet he's never going to see it. He's never going to see it in the mirror and think, oh, I'm inspired, I'm going to go and kill them all. Which has led me to this hypothesis. He is just like Elizabeth's dad from Friends. He dances in the mirror. He's all like, I'm just a love machine. Oh, imagine Brock Lesnar doing that, because it happens. It's the only way he can see his tramp stamp. Back to Jerry Lawler once again, and this time he was complimenting the shape Brock Lesnar was in. Fair enough. Then he lambasted Paul Heyman for being a different shape of round. How very dare you? Remember when you were literally called the Burger King in WWE, you numpty. Wasn't as good as when Shane McMahon did it. Shane McMahon's the best wrestler in the world. It's John O'Clock! This time John claims that they've got Brock Lesnar on the backboard and that Brock Lesnar hasn't said a word, even though a couple of seconds before, Brock was clearly shown saying many of the words. I tell you what, John, just like Ronan Keating used to say, you'll sit down when you stand down. The Miz was the number one entrant in the 2015 Royal Rumble, which is a WTF moment because WWE were playing some unagi on our sorry arses. So you look at the number one entrants in the Royal Rumbles from 2010 to 2015 and you see this. You see 2010 Dolph Ziggler, 2011 CM Punk, 2012 The Miz, 2013 Dolph Ziggler, 2014 CM Punk, and 2015 The Miz. Wow. I mean, it's clear for all to see now. Surely Punk left WWE just to put an end to that madness. Imagine you've been in a relationship for near on 17 years. Your girlfriend's not there one night. The first lass you see, you neck on with her. That's what Bubba Ray did when he did all of the Dudley's moves with R-Truth. Dirty bastard. As things stand, Curtis Axel has been in the 2015 Royal Rumble for 1,097 days. That is a very long time. That horrible moment when you just realise that the demon Finn Balor is just like the boo. Sorry, the boos are in there. I can't help it. Just like the boogeyman, but without Parkinson's and worms. This time JBL claims that Sin Cara is Spanish for you're eliminated. It's not. It means faceless and botchy botch botch. First of all, Bray Wyatt looked bare strong before WWE cut his bollocks off once again by having him build a feud by himself before having him lose to The Undertaker at WrestleMania 31. WTF. And next up we have one of Bray's eliminations in the match, one of 6 of them, Jesus Christ Almighty, which was Daniel Bryan. A year after he was left out of the Rumble and the world ended, he was dumped out of the match halfway through. Twas almost as if Vince McMahon turned himself into a worthless vegetable here and was replaced by Lemony Snicket, because from here on out it was a series of unfortunate events that left everybody in the arena tickety-boo and didn't start the hashtag cancel WWE Network. Oh, the soundtrack to the Rumble of 2015 from here on out, please, Mr. Editor Dick Tubbs. So Big E was greeted with a chorus of what you can hear now, and Big E's response was not fitting of a man who has a fetish for unicorns and pankakis. He told that Philly crowd, F-U-C-K-U. And then we have the only man that could have stopped the boos being dumped out the match quicker than you could have said should never have left WWE, should never have gone to TNA. Where the hell is he now? Why not let Miz now have 10 minutes of fun instead of 10 seconds of fun? Why would WWE want to encourage the boos when that would have stopped them for a bit? The silly geese. It's John O'Clock. I'm sorry, I can't do it as vigorously as I normally do it. I'm sick as a dog. But JBL in all of his wisdom claims that the mood changed when the Big Show was waddling down to the ring. I beg to differ. I reckon the mood changed when Roman Reigns came in and everyone was sort of like, and then all of a sudden became... And then Dolph Ziggler came in, a man who back then was seen by many fans as a man who had all the talent to be given all of the rabbit's tail, but in reality hadn't been given a fair shake of the rabbit's tail. He was super kicking folk like he was the love child of Shawn Michaels and the Young Bucks. Everything was going well. He had stopped the boos. Then all of a sudden, one KO punch on the Big Show, and he was dumped over the top rope in a completely perfect metaphor for the situation. His limp body was just like our hopes and dreams being hoid out there like a sack of spuds. Then the exact same thing happened with Dean Ambrose. It really is incredible to look back at how badly WWE read what their audience wanted. Woohoo! So after Roman Reigns eliminates the Big Show and Kane because he's a big strong dog with big beautiful blue eyes, the bell rang for some reason, even though my Bane Spirit animal Ruru had not been eliminated from the match. pricks. And then The Rock came out and people cheered for a bit, even though it didn't make much sense, The Rock coming out, because a little bit before the 2015 Royal Rumble, the Shield triple powerbombed him, and WWE weren't making too much of a hoo-ha about The Rock and Roman Reigns being cousins at that point. He just happened to be backstage. What are the chances when Roman Reigns, a man who nobody likes, is going to win the Royal Rumble? But then Roman got involved again, so people booed a bit harder. Then Ruru came back into the fold, and then people cheered for a little bit, and then Ruru eliminated him, and then people booed, and then The Rock came back in, lifted Reigns' hand, and people booed even harder. It was a tough wank. And that's it for all of your WTF moments from the Rumble Reigns. I mean the Roman Rumble. I mean Roman Reigns is going to win the Royal Rumble on Sunday. You heard it here first. I've been Ross from Cultaholic.com. You have been my sexual wank pheasants. Pledge to our Patreon page, patreon.com/Cultaholic. Anything you can afford to give will be retitivated. Yes, that's an actual word, not really. Into things which will be able to make us provide you with more quality content for your entertainment. But most importantly of all, do not forget to join us.